Hi, welcome to eMini Tuts. That's educational mini tutorials here to help you with your child's learning. This eMini Tut is just a real quick tip really. It's called First Keys to Tutoring Your Child. This is just a few quick tips really to just help lay down the foundations of what you must always be thinking about whilst working through the activities with your child. Now, it might seem like common sense to some people, but for some people it's easily forgotten as well. One thing that you should do and bear in mind is that results do not define your child. Here at eMini Tuts, we're here to help achieve results, and we're here to help you think of the objectives and to meet those objectives. And I'm sure that's what you want, and that's what you want your child. That's what you want your child and for your child to want. But that the results, the end outcome, even if it might not be quite the top, the best, it's important that your child hears directly from your mouth. They hear from your lips. Something along the lines of, you've tried so hard, and no matter what, we love you, or no matter what, we really appreciate every single effort that you have made. I cannot stress anymore how important that is for your child to hear. They might have a lot of respect for their teachers and a lot of respect for their coaches and their tutors. But first and foremost, you are their number one teacher. You are their number one tutor. You are their number one person. So what you say matters. So I just want to remind you, if you it does slip your memory, that as you're working through these activities, if your child seems to find one part difficult, where they almost find the pace slows down a little bit, then that's your opportunity to encourage them. That's your opportunity to remind them that at the moment the outcome is not what matters. What matters is that you try, and what matters is every single step counts. So bear that in mind while you are working through the activities. The other tip that I wanted to just suggest to you here is to do with nurturing your child's interest. Now, again, that seems like common sense to some parents, but to some, they haven't even thought about it. So really, I would like you to really think about observing your child, not necessarily in academic activities. So not necessarily when they're writing and sitting at a table, doing some math or learning a bit of science and doing research, but just observing your child in their everyday life. What is it that they tend to enjoy from a very young age, from as young as toddlers, before they could even walk, and then maybe when they're able to talk and when they're able to communicate their interests, have a look at where they're spending their time. Are they on the floor playing with the Lego bricks? Because that might suggest that they really enjoy building things and they like the way that things are put together. Are they helping you out in the kitchen and being very keen to set up the table and helping you cook? If you see that with your child, then maybe that's a key indicator that they have an interest in cooking and in creating things. Are they drawing and mark making a lot from a young age? Noticing patterns and textures, feeling, the curtains and feeling books and feeling furniture. Pay attention to what your child is doing. Might seem non-academic, but it could be a very key indicator of who your child actually is from a young age, what they yearn to be. Us as adults, we sometimes forget that. Have a little think. If you remember, I certainly do. There's certain things, activities that I really enjoyed doing, but then when it came to school, I had to focus on the academics, and I focused on certain things, and then those interests, they weren't particularly nurtured, or they weren't really encouraged by those around me. And later as an adult, I then discovered it, or should I say rediscovered those passions that I have. And it could have been a completely different story had I been nurturing that interest from a very young age. So I just want to encourage you for those two things. Remember, your child is not defined by the result or the outcome, although that's what we're looking for, and that's what we're wanting. That's not what defines your child. And then the second thing is to look out for those interests from a very young age and nurture it as best as you can. So bear in mind those two things as you're working through the activities.